She was escorted off the plane in front of everyone. No explanation, no apology. Just whispers, stares, and the sting of humiliation. A black woman in first class? Must be suspicious. But what security didn't know was who she really was, and how far her power reached. Hours later, their entire airline would feel the impact. Not through protests, but through billions lost in silence. What made her turn a personal insult into a financial storm? This isn't just a story about racism. It's a warning. Avery Jordan wasn't new to first class. At just 38, she had built a tech empire that disrupted how Fortune 500 companies handled global logistics. Her name might not be known to the average traveler, but in boardrooms and stock exchanges, Avery's signature was synonymous with power. That morning, she was flying from San Francisco to New York, a routine trip for a woman who closed billion-dollar deals between coffee breaks. She wore a sleek navy blazer, diamond studs, and carried nothing more than her phone and a worn leather briefcase. Her assistant had booked the flight. The airline had confirmed her seat, 2A, first class. Nothing about her presence should have raised suspicion. But it wasn't her seat that got their attention. It was her skin.
If you believe stories like this need to be heard, hit subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss a moment that matters.
The moment she stepped into the cabin, the atmosphere changed. A slight hesitation from the flight attendant. A double check of her boarding pass. Polite, but uneasy smiles from passengers. One man even asked if she was lost. Avery smiled politely and took her seat. She was used to the subtle prejudice, the kind that wrapped itself in manners and excuses. She focused on her emails, ignoring the stares. But 10 minutes before takeoff, uniformed security approached her. Quietly, firmly. "Ma'am, we need you to step off the plane with us." No explanation, no conversation, just a growing tension and 42 passengers watching her every move. Avery rose without a word. But she wasn't humiliated, she was calculating. Because if they thought this was just another inconvenience, they had no idea who they were dealing with. As Avery stepped off the plane, the whispers behind her echoed louder than the jet engines. Security didn't explain. They simply escorted her to a quiet area near the gate, eyes avoiding hers. A supervisor finally arrived, holding a tablet and wearing a forced smile. "There was an issue with your boarding pass," he said vaguely. "We're verifying some details. Nothing personal." But it was personal. Avery knew it. She remained composed, asking calmly, "What exactly is the issue?" The man hesitated. "We received a report. Someone claimed your ticket was fraudulent." Avery raised an eyebrow. Her company's executive travel account handled every booking. Fully confirmed, first class, same as always. She offered to pull up the receipt, the confirmation email, even her frequent flyer history. But they weren't listening. Instead, the airline's manager gestured to another flight attendant who nodded toward Avery, whispering something with a concerned expression. Then came the final insult. The airline rebooked her in economy on a later flight. "This is standard protocol," they said. "It's not about race." But it was. Avery sat in the corner of the lounge for over an hour, quietly taking notes, documenting every interaction. She wasn't angry. She was focused. She called her chief legal officer, not her assistant, not her PR rep, her lawyer, because what had just happened wasn't a booking error. It was discrimination wrapped in company policy. And when she returned home that evening, hours late, humiliated and exhausted, she didn't post about it. She didn't tweet. She didn't rant. She made a call. By morning, her team had compiled every discriminatory incident logged against the airline over the past decade. Her data engineers built a visual timeline. Her legal team drafted formal inquiries. And most importantly, her finance division pulled every future corporate travel contract her company had with the airline, including partner subsidiaries. The total value? $5.2 billion. Because Avery Jordan didn't just fly first class. She moved entire markets. And now she had one goal: make sure the world understood what disrespect could cost. Within 72 hours, the airline's corporate division received a notice from one of their largest B2B clients. Avery Jordan Global Holdings was terminating all travel contracts, effective immediately. The total withdrawal? Over $5 billion across flights, freight, and corporate packages. The internal email chain exploded. Executives scrambled, trying to understand what had happened. The flight manifest was pulled. CCTV footage reviewed. Dozens of people were questioned. And then, someone recognized her name. Avery Jordan? One executive whispered, pale. That Avery Jordan? The tech mogul? The board member at Delta's competitor. Panic set in. By the next day, every major news outlet was running the story. Black CEO pulled from first class. Shuts down $5 billion airline deal overnight. The airline issued a generic apology, carefully worded, with phrases like, regret the inconvenience, and internal review underway. But Avery wasn't interested in apologies. She released a statement of her own. This was never just about me. It's about every person who's been profiled, dismissed, or made to feel less than while quietly minding their business. My company won't invest in institutions that treat respect as optional. If they can't see the value in my presence, they won't profit from my name. It wasn't just powerful, it was personal. Avery's words went viral, shared by celebrities, CEOs, civil rights groups, and ordinary people who had felt that same sting of silent racism dressed as protocol. The airline's stock plummeted. Rival carriers offered public apologies, free upgrades to minority travelers, and instant diversity reforms, all scrambling to get ahead of the storm. But Avery didn't speak again. She didn't need to, because her silence echoed louder than their excuses. And the industry had just learned something they'd never forget. Disrespect may be subtle, but its consequences can be seismic. Avery never returned another call from the airline. Her quiet exit sent a loud message. Respect isn't optional, even at 30,000 feet. Her bold move didn't just cost them billions. It forced the entire industry to look inward. Because sometimes the most powerful protest isn't shouted. It's simply walking away with everything they thought you didn't have.